Welcome back, video creeps! First, before we get started, I want to welcome the 20 plus new viewers who subscribe to my channel. Welcome, good to have you here. And what a good time for you to come on too. Because today we will be reviewing the movie Mutilator. By sword, by picks, by axe. Bye-bye. So Mutilator is a film that I had never seen before. I had heard a lot of whispers about it, and I was interested, but I had never gotten around to actually seeing it. A while back, my buddy Rebecca Reinhardt commissioned me to do an art piece for Sinister Cinema. Another awesome YouTuber, I will link him down below because his stuff is amazing. And in lieu of payment, I asked her just to buy me a bunch of horror movies that I had never seen before. And Mutilator was one of them. So thank you, Rebecca, for that. This movie opens up with a woman putting the final touches on a birthday cake. And we see little Ed sauntering over to his father's gun cabinet, where for his birthday he is going to clean all of his guns. What a sweet kid. But the music is letting you know something fucky is about to happen, and it does. The whole intro to this movie is just like a 90s anti-gun campaign.
In the United States, 88 people die of gun violence every day.
Because doing an incredibly shit job at cleaning these guns, little Ed shoots and murders his mother. Cleaning a gun no-no number 1. Dad comes home to a very unhappy birthday and pushes his son. Getting a little grieving done, he also decides to slap him around a little bit, and for like a split second decides that he's gonna like hunt him. But he quickly changes his mind, and instead he picks up his dead wife and drags her into the gun and alcohol room, weird mix, and in his clear disturbance, makes a drink, takes that happy birthday sign off of the gun cabinet, puts it on his now dead wife, and gives her a little sip of the good stuff. This intro is really creepy, and I think that's mainly because there's barely any dialogue in it. I think the one thing that you hear is like the kid saying mommy, mommy after he kills her. So I think there's a little bit of build for the creep factor there. We pick up at a bar where in the background you can hear this song that kind of plays throughout this movie like a bad joke.
A fall break, walking hand in hand in the moonlight.
And in this bar, we meet our group of teenagers. We have a now grown-up Ed, there's Pam, Ed's girlfriend, Ralph, kind of like a douchey guy who seems to be like Ed's best friend, though their friendship dynamic I don't see, Sue, who is Ralph's love interest, Linda, and Mike, who Mike is my favorite actor in this entire movie.
Well, why don't you make some reservations?
Every line that this guy delivers is so over the top and cheesy, which is something that you're gonna have to get used to in this movie because there's some major cheese factor going on.
Man, you corny!
While they're hanging and banging, figuring out what they're gonna do for their break, Ed gets a call from his dad where he wants Ed to drive up to their condo so that way he can shut it down for the winter. Turn off the electricity, put antifreeze on all the drains, that kind of deal. Little Ed is not game at all for this shit, but he leaves the paper with a list of things to do on the table while he goes to get himself a beer because Ralph is an asshole and drank his beer. I'm talking to you, Joseph. You need to stop doing that shit. It's fucking my beer. What are you doing? And they all look at this little piece of paper and pass it around as if Ed fucking drew the condo on this thing.
Did you say any 10-year-old can handle it?
They're all thinking the same thing. A free place where they can drink and fuck? Let's go. They pile into the car, and then that song, fucking Fall Break, it plays again. For like a long time.
When the leaves of summer turn to red and gold, and the football games bring a hint of the cold time to get away.
This movie was actually originally called Fall Break, and it's even in like the title screen. So this is like the song that accompanies Fall Break. And the song cuts out so that way we can see this group go into a store and buy some beer for the road. And as soon as that's done, the song just starts right over.
Hardly wait to head for the dunes, spread down a blanket, humming sweet love tunes from yesteryear.
I'm telling you, it's comical. I don't know what it is, but it's fucking really funny. They finally get to the condo and they see that the place has no door. It seems like people have already been there. Little Ed says, hey, you know what? This is probably my dad. He likes to come here and drink with his friends and like reminisce about shit that never happened.
You are a drunk, you are an alcoholic, you are a rageaholic, you are out of control, and as long as that happens, this will never change.
But little do they know that Big Ed is actually underneath the house, dreaming about killing his son. I guess he never got over it. Mike and Linda break off and they go exploring the house, finding this hatch underneath the house where Big Ed is staying. They find a room with spikes hanging out of the walls.
What do you suppose these are for?
They will find out very soon. But before they can discover Big Ed, Pam calls them and then they are saved from Big Ed wielding his battle axe ready to swing. The group goes upstairs and they eat food together, and then Mike and Linda again are like, well, we're gonna break out. And they go and they frolic in the water for a little bit to some fucking rockin' flute music. And when they get bored of that, they come across a pool. A pool on the beach. But I can look past that because Mike is so cheesy. I just can't get enough. These two decide that they're gonna get naked and jump in this pool. And some more sappy music plays. I don't know who scored this film, but there's something about the soundtrack that just sticks out like a sore thumb for me. This is a very minor distraction because Linda is beautiful. The actress who plays her, I think her name is Frances Rain. Pooh! And they tease her tits for like a little bit, but like then you get this great shot of her swimming on her back. But this is extremely short-lived, as Big Ed puts his hands around her mouth and drowns her in the water. Somehow, without Mike noticing in the water, Big Ed is able to sneak her whole body out of the water and steal their clothes. Which, yeah, it's kind of like, huh, how do you do that? But you soon forget, because one of the cooler scenes in this movie ensues, where Big Ed leaves a trail of clothing for Mike to follow. And Mike thinks that he's gonna get it on.
Socks. Nice. What I really want is my jacket. Say, I'm pretty good at this.
But instead, these clothes lead back to that hatch, where Mike gets a weed whacker to the chest. There's our first look at the special effects in this movie. And they look really good. His chest is tore up. It looks nice and gruesome. The first kill is always that thing that determines how well you're gonna like this movie based on aesthetics alone. And I have to say, based off of this one, I was pleased.
I must confess it, girl, when I like it.
Big Ed takes those bodies and he sticks them by the head right on those spikes hanging out of the wall. Still a scene that I'm not quite sure how they did it, because those look like very real spikes. Big Ed kills a cop And the group who had left the condo to look for Linda and Mike decide that they're gonna head back so that way they can play hide and seek. Which seems like a squandered scene for me, because in this scene, Big Ed makes his way into the house. It just makes sense to me that during a game of hide and seek, someone would die and they can't find them. But it didn't go that direction. Instead, the big scary thing that happens is we see this really rusty, fucked up looking fridge. Gross. The kids all go to bed, and Sue tells Ralph that if he goes out and finds Linda and Mike, she will show him her cooter cleavage. Ralph does a funny little dance.
Lord, goodness gracious.
And heads out to find them, but instead catches a pitchfork to the neck. Another really cool looking scene. I especially like that Big Ed then put him on the back of the door. You can see him like swing. Sue, looking like a snack, decides to go look for Ralph because Pound Town should have been over by this point, and we haven't even started.
The world is burning. Let's masturbate. 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 People at the United Nations, they masturbate.
When she can't find him, she goes to get the rest of what's left of this gang, consisting of just Pam and Little Ed, and they split up looking for the rest of their friends, considering half of them have gone missing at this point. Sue turns the wrong corner, and Big Ed is waiting there and grabs her by the neck and lifts her up like he's fucking Incredible Hulk. And he slams her down on a table, taking a large hook and stuffing it right through her snoo-snoo and out of her tum-tum. I'm pretty sure that little bit is actually in my intro. And he finishes the job off by cutting her fucking head off. Upon inspecting where their friends could be, they come across the room with all of their dead friends. And they begin to suspect that something's wrong. Big Ed charges towards them, and Little Ed attacks his dad, but is quickly knocked out. And Big Ed, ready to just fucking kill this guy. I dream about it. You killed your mother, you fucking prick. But is stopped because the power of Pam compels him. Pam grabs the world's smallest knife. And somehow Big Ed forgets how to block and shit, because she's able to just stab him right in the heart. And it looks like Big Ed is finally dead. Pam picks up what's left of her boyfriend and puts him into a car where they try to drive away. However, the car won't start. And in this time, Big Ed is able to get up and start attacking the roof of the car with his battle axe. He cuts a hole on the roof, and they're able to take out the car burner and burn his hand. That's probably one of my favorite special effects in this movie. I really like the way that looks. And with that, Ed falls to the front of the car, where they're able to start the car and accelerate so that way they can smash him into an oddly placed cinder block wall that's just on the sand. But they hit this thing with enough force that it just cuts him right in half. So no Mutilator 2. We see Pam and Little Ed in the hospital, and they are survivors and virgins. And the movie comes to its conclusion. But not before playing Fall Break one more time.
When the leaves of summer turn red and gold and the football games bring a hint of the cold, time to get away.
Guys, Mutilator is cheesy as hell, and I love that. Give me a corny movie. I will never hold that against the film. The kills in this movie vary and are really interesting. It's one thing to have a movie with kills, it's another thing to have a movie with good kills. And this movie had excellent kills. The group of teenagers that we're hanging out with the whole time, they're a really cool group of people. I like them too. This movie does have its share of drawbacks though. It's not a perfect film. There are times that I found this movie was dragging, but it does such a good job of hooking you back in that it's hard for me to even put that against it. I would blame that more to just the filming style of this. It is an older movie and, we were still figuring out certain things. The Ed character, Little Ed, the son, he is weirdly creepy in this movie. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it felt like he was supposed to be the bad guy. Or maybe like him and his dad were in cahoots, and the whole thing was supposed to be a plot to bring these new people in so that way his dad and him could kill them. That makes more sense to why this character was the way that he was. Even when he's like explaining the rules to the hide and seek game, he seems weirdly sinister. And it's odd that they didn't do anything with him for that.
Then we turn off all the lights. Whoever is it stays in the house, and the rest of us go outside and drink a beer. Then the person playing it hides himself, and we all come back in and try to find him. When we do, we stand or sit or lie down next to him. Finally, there'll just be one person wandering around the house, trying to find everybody else.
The other character that I kind of had an issue with was Pam. Not because she was a bad actress or because I didn't enjoy her on screen, but just because she's a fucking drag, man. She's the least interesting character of the group. She's the final girl in this movie. She should have been fucking great, and she just wasn't. I thought everybody was better than Pam. All in all, Mutilator is a great film. I really enjoyed it, but I am going to give it a 7 because there are better slashers out there. Still worth watching, but not the cream of the crop. Guys, thank you so much for staying till the end of my video. If you like these reviews and what you're seeing going on, make sure that you hit subscribe and you ring the bell so that way you know when my next video is going to be up. And if you have a friend who's into horror, go ahead and share these videos around. Again, thank you to everybody who has already subscribed to my channel. We're already almost at 100 subscribers. And the fact that I've only had this channel for about a month and a half, that's fucking amazing. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace, video creeps.